Last question. You talk about this 25% rule. What is the 25% rule and how does one apply it?
So, see, we all think about goals, where I want to be. Now, there's a really tricky problem in our brain. So if I have a goal that I want to be a millionaire and I work today and I earn $10, how does my brain interpret that? It looks at the effort that I put in and says $10 is nowhere near my goal, and that actually tanks my motivation because it looks at this situation, it says, I have not moved sufficiently close to my goal. So the bigger our goal is, the harder it is for our brain to get on board with doing it. So the 25% rule is take anything that you want to accomplish and cut it in half, and then cut it in half again. And this should be your first goal at a minimum. You can even go smaller than that. You go 12.5. There's no amount that is too small. But generally speaking, if you really look at it, the more ambitious your goals are, the harder they will be to achieve. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but you can still achieve it, but only if it's not your goal. That's been my experience. So there's neuroscience to back this up. But even then, when I was 18 years old, I wanted to go to Harvard and I wanted to become a doctor. When I gave up on the goal and I focused on the task at hand. So if you really look at how do you accomplish great things, not by wanting to accomplish great things. I can be at the bottom of Mount Everest and I can look at the top and I can say, I want to climb to the top of Mount Everest. Or I can not even look at the top of Mount Everest. Whether I'm looking at the top or not looking at the top, the way to get to the top is the same, one step at a time. So it's really interesting because everyone is so focused on goals. What I've sort of learned as a psychiatrist and even in my own life is like, focus on today, focus on doing something today, and be super careful about setting a big goal. Because then even if you set a huge goal and you do 50% of it, you'll feel like, oh my God, like I didn't accomplish my goal. And even 50% progress will feel like a failure because you didn't hit your goal, right? And this is really weird the way that our motivational circuitry works. So cut your goal in half and then cut it in half again and focus on that one.
It makes sense. It's what the performance director of, I think, Team Sky, Sir David Brailsford, talked to me about many years ago. He said that he used to ban the athletes from thinking about the podium and just focus them on their pedal strokes today on their bikes. And that team went on to become the greatest cycling team of all time, pretty much, from being down and out. And I always wondered why he said he banned them thinking about the medals and stuff like that because it would form as a distraction from today's performance. But it's difficult to do. So, okay, I'll stop setting goals.
Or set them 25% or set them with awareness.
No, I do anyway. To be honest, I don't set big goals in my life. I find it really difficult when people ask me, what's your 5-year or your 10-year plan? You feel like you're bullshitting because the answer in reality is I'm just going to do my very, very best every day.
Exactly, right? Yeah. So I agree with that 100% because what more can you do?
Yeah.
Like setting a 10-year goal doesn't, I mean, we can sort of think that it makes us work harder and it can in some ways, but it's not the ideal way.
It's going to confuse today and cause a lot of procrastination and confusion about what I should be doing today. Because if my goal is 10 million in 5 years,
absolutely.
Doing a course online today doesn't feel like
it's
sufficient.
If you have a 10-year plan, you can afford to waste today and you can afford to waste tomorrow because you have so much time.
Exactly. And that's not useful. If you've seen my most recent post on LinkedIn, you probably have seen that I'm on a bit of a hiring spree at the moment across my company, Flight Group, trying to find the world's best talent. And throughout these years of building these businesses, my first port of call for hiring has always been LinkedIn Jobs, who are a proud sponsor of this podcast. This is because of 2 reasons. Number 1, LinkedIn isn't just another job board. It has a vast network of more than 1 billion professionals and quality candidates, which I believe makes it the best place to find and hire professionals you can't find anywhere else. And number 2, their process and features. LinkedIn is constantly finding ways to make the hiring process easier with super easy and intuitive features. Hiring is easy when you have that many quality candidates. In fact, 86% of small businesses get a qualified candidate within 24 hours through LinkedIn Jobs. Post your job for free at linkedin.com/DOAC. That's linkedin.com/DOAC to post your job for free right now. And of course, terms and conditions apply.